Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pre-Market News and Views by In the Money Stocks. My name's Nick Santiago. Today is Friday, May 6th, 2011. The current time is 8:23 a.m. There's a lot to go over, a lot to cover. Yesterday's big decline in commodities, silver, gold, oil, was all crushed in what we call the perfect storm. As everybody has been known, the silver margin rates have been getting hiked almost on a daily basis, several times a day sometimes. And then the big dollar spike yesterday. And I've been talking about the dollar over the last 2 weeks, pounding the table. If that dollar goes up, the market goes down. If the dollar continues to fall, the market will rise. Well, what has happened? We had a huge move in the dollar yesterday, and that's really all it takes. Right here is a futures chart of the E-minis, S&P 500 E-mini futures. You'll see that we're up about 2 points at the moment. However, we are off the highs. In about 5 minutes, we're going to get the monthly government jobless unemployment number. So we're going to see what the government reports as an unemployment number. Again, I do not care what the number is. I guess they're looking for a couple 100,000 jobs being created. But the truth of the matter is we only care about the market's reaction as traders. Okay, so that will come out in about 5 minutes, and we'll go to that once we see it. But let's go over the dollar chart. The dollar is trading up about a penny this morning. But let me just click over to a daily, and you'll see the big move yesterday. That's a big surge. The last time the dollar surged 1 point, 1 full point, you have to go all the way back to the beginning of the year. And let me just pull this up, and I'll get the exact date. Yeah, it looks like, wow, that's pretty interesting. You have to go back to January 5th. January 5th. So January 5th, 2011 was the last time the dollar surged by about 1 point or more. And here we are 3 months later, and you got that same surge there. So pretty ironic. Those of you that follow cycles along with me or have taken the In the Money Stocks webinar know exactly what I'm talking about there. So in any case, you had a big move in the dollar, hence a big decline in the stock market. Here's the futures. Futures have been selling off pretty sharply today. They're rebounding just a little bit before that jobless claims number. Now, today is a Friday. On Fridays, rarely do we see a big decline. We've had a huge decline already. I don't know what the jobless number is going to be, but normally I look for a flat Friday regardless. Okay, sometimes we'll get a big down Friday, but I think over the past 2.5 years, we've only had 12 or 13 Fridays where the market has been down over 100 points on the Dow Jones. So rarely do we ever get a big down Friday. You never know, maybe we'll get one today, but I'm not in that camp of thinking that. But the action is just so volatile right now with the move in the dollar and the big commodity sell-off. One thing I'll say about silver, though, the run-up was just tremendous, and we should just go to that chart. It was really just a spectacular run right around late January, and we really rallied all the way up here. But one thing you have to take note of is that you did get high volume, and yesterday was humongous volume. I mean, the volume yesterday was just astronomical, 294 million shares, all-time high volume for silver, and you cut through some pretty significant levels. But the one thing is, right up here, when you got these high volume spikes and you're at extreme highs, that usually is a bearish sign. I know we've talked about it, that silver could be doing for a correction, and sure enough, it really was a correction, if we ever seen one, what we call a waterfall sell-off. But in any case, looking at today's action in silver, it looks like it is trading just down a tad, about a little bit over a point below, but it is getting a little bit of a bounce. One thing we have to watch for right now is the action in the dollar again. Silver, in my opinion, is a little bit overcooked. So I do think, could be due for a short-term bounce at any time now. Now, gold had a similar move. The move in gold yesterday was just, destructive. It was just a big move. You could see we've had a really a 4-day sell-off there in gold. And if we just move to an intraday chart, you're getting a little bit of an uptick today, 144.35. Yesterday, GLD closed at 143.47. We're just using this as a proxy for gold. Now, the other thing that was killed yesterday was oil. Oil was absolutely demolished. If you look at a chart here, we're down to this pivot low right at around $39. So there is going to be some pretty important support, in my opinion, on oil. But the one thing you have to look at, I mean, it was just a big giant fall. Spot crude was down about $10 or $9 in change. Actually closed under $100 a barrel. Today you're getting a little bit of a bounce higher. Um, just a tad in oil, it looks like. So let's just keep it all in perspective here. When the dollar goes up, that's really it. It will just take the steam out of this market. And let's not forget about stocks. I know stocks held up a little bit better, but the stock market has had a real big decline. I apologize. Oil is down about $1.50 at the moment. So we are trading lower in oil this morning, and the dollar is higher by about 1 penny. But it's all about the dollar. The dollar is the only thing that matters at the moment. We'll see how the dollar plays out in a couple minutes. Right now, we're just going to switch screens to the S&P 500 as the job number is released. And let's just go to our intraday chart here. And we'll see the unemployment number will be out in about 15 seconds, and we'll just see what it takes, what it gives us, how the market reacts. I have no idea what they're going to say. The ADP job report was pretty poor, and you also had yesterday's weekly initial jobless claim number pretty poor. Markets are trading higher. Okay, markets are trading higher. So big pop there. You see the futures live time right now, right at 8:30. Markets are trading higher initially. The Dow futures are up 62 points. E-mini futures are now up 8.5 points. Non-farm payrolls up 244,000. So that's much, much better than expected. Pretty much a blowout number if you ask me. And the market's reacting pretty strong. Now, one thing I want you to watch here, okay, is the U.S. dollar index. Look what the dollar's doing. So the dollar is starting to make a move higher. If that dollar moves up higher, oof, it could bring this market right back down. So, again, let me go to the futures chart. There we go. And you see it's starting to pull in off the highs. But it is a good number. We'll see how the market reacts today. I am not expecting a big sell-off day. I know today is the anniversary of last year's flash crash, but I do not expect another flash crash. Anniversary dates are important, but one-year anniversary dates are not so important. And we'll just see what this market gives us. Normally on Friday, what we look for is a slight flat to slightly higher day. Nothing more than that. We'll see if the market does have a little rally in it since it's been sold off over the past few days. But you're getting a pretty significant bounce higher. It's all going to be really dependent on the dollar. If the dollar moves back down, maybe you could see more of a rally in the markets. You'd also see a bounce in commodities, in my opinion, as well. If the dollar sells off, then we could get a really good rally in this market. So we're going to have to wait and see, and we'll just look at it there. But right now, futures are trading up almost 9 points here, just about 9 points to 13.44 per contract, and that's a pretty solid move. The dollar is pulling back as we speak a little bit. But pretty good move there in the markets. Now, earnings season is winding down a little bit, so we have to pay a little bit close attention to that. Earnings season is starting to wind down a little bit, and now we could get back to the charts, and you don't have to look so much at each individual name each and every day. But it's been a pretty wild earnings season, especially with the action in the commodity sector. But a solid move for the markets. They continue to move higher, up by 11 points now on the E-mini futures. And look at the dollar here. You see how they just really surged. U.S. dollar index now is negative. May even have a topping tail candle being formed. But it's still pretty early. But the dollar down, and I have to think the dollar probably pulls back after yesterday's big advance. Doesn't mean that it may not be done for a while, but usually after a big up day, as we had in the dollar yesterday, normally the next day you get what we call a pause day or a retrace day. And that could be what's in store right now for the dollar. But dollar going negative, market should be soaring, and sure enough, we're up 12 points now in the futures. So just that simple. You guys see the relationship. It's virtually tick for tick sometimes in the market, but it's all about the U.S. dollar index, in my opinion. So we could look at for little quick one-day bounces, two-day bounces, I guess, in gold, silver, and the USO if the dollar does fall. Okay. Another thing I want to point out is copper. And let me just go to a JJC chart, which is a copper ETF or the copper ETN. This thing has been bludgeoned as well. So pretty good sell-off there. But if the dollar falls, you could see a little pickup in copper today as well. Last night, the Asian markets opened. The Shanghai market was not that big a deal, but Japan was on holiday for Golden Week, and they reopened last night. They were down about 1.5% or 145 points. The Hang Seng was down about just under little under 0.5%, and the Shanghai was down about 9 points or 0.3%. So again, you just want to note that Asia has been weak, and that when Asia's weak, the commodity markets could be weak. But the dollar falling today could save the markets a little bit. Now, if the dollar doesn't fall, don't expect a lot out of the commodity markets. That's just that simple. Okay. There's a lot of stuff coming out of Europe. The Middle East crisis and Northern Africa crisis is still well intact. A lot of problems over there. I know there's Syrian protests going on today. But we can't really make too much out of it. Really, what traders need to focus on is the dollar only, and I don't really want to go into that other stuff because it's a lot of fluff. But on Fridays, we usually look for a flat to slightly higher trading day. Okay? That pretty much wraps up everything I had to say this morning. Hope you're enjoying pre-market news and views, and I'll see you all on the charts in a little while. Have a great day now. Take care, everybody.